Right, so it's 7:30, and we know we have a pastor who is big on prophecy, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in into tonight's encouragement, or tonight's word, rather. Tonight, do me a favor, while you guys are still typing, I want you to put in the comments section, tonight's topic or title of encouragement is entitled Conducive Conditions. Conducive Conditions. I'm going to give you guys a few scriptures just to... for the sake of a reference point or a premise of tonight's particular topic entitled Conducive Conditions. We already know that we're in a pandemic. We know our world, our nation has been in an uproar. Our lives as we know it has changed really dramatically over the course of weeks, but really in a day's time, the world as we knew it shifted. Many of us, our jobs have shifted, our families have shifted. We're seeing how we're able to congregate and how we deal with each other, how we handle each other. Where we go, there are now rules and there are laws now being placed that govern the way that we've done life. And honestly, we got to be truthful about it. It seems as if the times have grown dark. Yeah, it seems like the hour has gotten darker, and really it seems like we take a few days ahead, we seem to get some good news, and then the following broadcast is telling us that they're having to put something else in place that restricts us. We're living in what I would consider to be a dark time in this moment. And so real quick, I want to give you guys for about 15 minutes, I want to give you a different perspective. I know we've talked about, what we're going to do on the other side of it. I know we talked about, when this is done, when this time is finished, what are we going to do after it? But tonight I want to propose a question. What are you going to do while you're in it? Pastor Carl talks about preparation time. Bishop has said this is preparation time. But what are we preparing for? And so tonight I want to give you a different perspective because, listen, you prepare according to your perspective. And if you have an unhealthy perspective, then you'll have an unhealthy preparation process, which means at the other side of this pandemic, you will leave with something. You're going to leave with something that isn't conducive to the next hour. Okay, so right quick, we're going to go to Genesis chapter 2. I'm going to read a few. You guys can go back and read them in your own time. But I want to set up a basis. For where God wants you or what he wants you to do now. Here's the taunting task of most prophets. Prophets have the troubling task of defining the time. And as we define the time, we have to give a direction for that time. And so tonight I want to give you definition for the time. And I want to encourage you by giving you direction for the time. Okay, that's the job of the prophet, to give you definition and to give you direction. So while I'm encouraging you, I want to make sure I'm encouraging you in the right direction. All right, Genesis chapter 1, verse 2. We're going to read verses 2 through 4. And then we're going to jump down to Genesis 1:26. Okay. And it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And he divided the light from darkness. Jump down to verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, over the cattle, and over all of the earth. Somebody type in all of the earth. And over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. The next basis I want to give you for it is Matthew 5:14 through 16. And the scripture says that ye are the light of the world, a city that is set upon a hill that cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So now that we have a basis or a premise, I think it's safe for us to all agree that right now the earth present day looks a lot like Genesis chapter 1. It seems as if there is a darkness that covers the entire earth. It's find it think it not strange that the pandemic not only has affected America, but it has affected the other side of the world. So now that means that darkness is not just covering one side. Hello. Darkness is not covering just one side of the earth, but now there's a darkness that has literally shifted the entire earth. For once the entire earth, hello, is on the same playing field. Every high thing brought low, every low thing brought high. Now we're all on an even playing field. Now here it is. A lot of times when I'm dealing with subject matters like this, the scripture that the Lord gives me and what he reminds me of is that one, you're made in his image. So that means you look like him. Secondly, I want to remind you that you're in his likeness, which means that he's giving you the ability to do what he did. So now what are the instructions? Hello, listen, if I'm in his image, if I'm a son of God, hello, if I'm a child of God, then that means there's something in my DNA that is God-like. Which means now I have the ability to replicate what he did. So again, we're in troubling times. We're in turmoil. Everybody's scattered. Everybody's looking for direction. Everybody wants answers. And the biggest question is, what now? Somebody go ahead and put what now? Because that's the question. What's next? What do we do now? Where do we go from here? What now? And that's the big question. Whether you're Buddhist, whether you're Catholic, whether you're Methodist, whether you're Pentecostal, Apostolic. What now? What do I do while I'm in this state? What do I do while I'm in shutdown? We've got to prepare. But what are we preparing for? And so then the Lord brought me to Romans chapter 8. And it's something that our bishop has been quoting. But I took the liberty to go down just a few more verses. Just a few more verses that gives us what we need for the hour. And it says, for I consider, some of you reading the King James may say, for I reckon, but I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. Listen, why is there darkness? Why is there turmoil? Why are we in chaos? Listen, for the earnest expectation of creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of God. For creation was subject to fertility, but not willing because of him who subjected it to hope. Here's verse 21. He said, because the creation itself will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberation of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groans and labors with birth pains together until now. So why are we in turmoil? Here's the what and here's the why. We're in turmoil because he's waiting for you to become. What should you be doing right now in this time of isolation? What should you be doing right now in this period of waiting? What should you be doing in this moment of reset? Your job as a believer is to manifest. Somebody type that in the comment section. My job in this season is to become the sons of God. This is a fine time for the sons of God. And here it is. It is darkness. It is darkness. Darkness is the stage that God chooses to use to manifest his sons. I'm going to say that again. It is darkness. Darkness is the stage by which he uses, that's the platform he chooses to use to manifest the sons of God. My job in this season is to become. I think the part that really hit me, it said in verse 21 of Romans chapter 8, it says, because creation itself also will be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberation of the children of God. Do yourself a favor in this season and get free. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Because the earth, listen, in Genesis, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but in Genesis chapter 1, he told the earth, let them have dominion. Which means he didn't give earth an option to not be submitted. In the DNA of the earth realm is something called submission. Yes, Lord. He encoded the woman called earth with a thing called submission. Earth desires to be dominated by the sons of God. So here it is. When the earth begins to travail like it is doing. Hello. When the earth begins to groan like it is doing. It is because it is waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. When the earth begins to cry, there's a lack of dominance from the children of God. Oh, I just said something right there. I said when the earth begins to cry, when the earth begins to moan, when the earth begins to travail, that means it is giving birth to sons. And my job as a son is to manifest the image of Christ. So here it is. Here it is. So the next wind of deliverance isn't coming through the preacher. Oh, I said the next wind of deliverance is not coming through the preacher. The next wind of deliverance is coming through your practice. I hope I'm helping somebody. I'm going to say it again. The next wind of deliverance, the next wind of freedom isn't coming from your preacher. The next wind of deliverance is coming through what you've been practicing. Listen, your life is not a 2-bedroom vacancy. It is a one, because the Holy Ghost don't do roommates. So what it is now, he has you in a place of solitude. He has you in a place of solitary confinement because he's trying to deal with you. And the problem is you look like you. You don't look like him. And so now what he's trying to do is while he has you by yourself, the next time he looks at you, he needs to see the manifested promise of what he spoke in Genesis. He ought to be able to see his image and see his likeness. But because we have been so consumed by the works of church, hello, we've been so consumed by the works of Christianity, hello, that we have not been manifesting his image. And not only is God not recognizing his image, but listen, the earth can't recognize your image either. And that's why we're in the pandemic. Because the earth says, when I was created, listen, the first thing that he did after he did creation, after he created everything, he said it was good. The first thing he did right after that, he didn't rest. He put a man in the garden to dominate. So the world has never known a world without dominance. And so now we're in it because now his sons are no longer walking in power. His sons are no longer walking in manifestation. Hello, we no longer look like the thing he initially created. So now what the earth has to do, the earth now has to position itself. I said I wasn't going to try to preach tonight. So now the earth has to now position itself to get you back in right alignment. So what is going to heal the land? Yes, if my people who are called by my name would humble themselves and pray and turn from their wicked ways, yes, I will hear from heaven, forgive their sins and heal the land. But here's the problem. The land isn't sick. The land is in travail, and there's a difference. Don't get the groanings of the earth confused with sickness. Because the earth is not sick. The earth understands that there's something that is going on in the realm of the spirit. And what it's trying to do, it is trying to pull you out of the cave. It's trying to pull you out of obscurity. It is trying to pull you out of darkness. So now is not the time to be lax. Now is not the time to be lazy. Now is the time for you to dive into your manifested purpose. Why am I here? And if you have not caught in COVID-19, why have I not contracted the virus? Because we all know ain't all of us been practicing the rules. Hello, but there's a reason why he left you here. There's a reason why you're surviving through the pandemic. Because there's purpose, and where there's purpose, there's power. So now is the time for you to find out, God, why am I here? What is my role in the body of Christ? And what part of you have you designed me to look like? Because granted, we all don't have the same roles. Listen, we all don't have the same roles. My job is not the bishop's job. The bishop's job is not Pastor Carl's job. Pastor Carl's job is not First Lady's job. What is your purpose? And here it is. The problem is you've been waiting for the prophet to tell you your purpose. You've been waiting for the bishop to tell you your purpose. But when was the last time you got in the face of God and you asked him, what have you designed me for? Because listen, Jeremiah, before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you. Here's your first challenge. You need to go and find the you that God knew. Because the you that you are is not the you that he recognizes. And quite frankly, the you that you are is not the you that the earth recognizes. Because listen, anytime heaven is birthed, anytime heaven births a prophet, that means the earth has a problem. You've been put on the earth to solve a problem. So now your next assignment is not only to find the you that God knew, you need to find the problem you've been assigned to. Because here it is. If you find the problem that you've been assigned to, hello, you'll discover your purpose. And when you discover your purpose, you'll discover your future. Many of us are only living for today. And here it is. God is a God of generations. You know, I find it funny that this particular condition has confined us with our families. Because we have been so self-centered. We've been so self-focused. And now God is saying, I'm putting you back in the realm of family. Listen, because what you need to be planning for needs to be for your children, for your children's children, and for your children. Right now, you need to be planning for the next 3 generations. I have a problem I've been assigned to. And listen, if you find the problem you've been assigned to, many of you will find the provision you've been looking for. Many of you don't need a miracle. You need a problem. You don't like that gospel. I said many of you don't need a miracle. Many of you don't need a prophecy. You need a problem. Because if you find the problem, you'll find your purpose. And then you'll find the resources that you need. I hope I'm saying something tonight that helps somebody. So don't be afraid of the darkness. And here's the problem. A lit candle, as Romans 8 declared, listen, a lit candle serves no purpose in a lit room. So what he's doing now is he's turning down the lights. Yes, God. He's making it as dark as possible. Here it is, because the earth now has to value the light that you possess. You are a city that sits upon a hill. You can't be hid. But the problem is, many of you do have light. Listen, but because the world has been going on about his business, because the world has not stopped to consider the things of God, what he does now is he turns down the lights and he creates a stage. Yes, God. He's reminding the earth in this season what he did in Genesis 1. When I stepped on the scene in Genesis 1, you were in chaos. When I stepped on in Genesis 1, hello, you were without form. You were with void. You had darkness. But let me remind you, let me turn down the lights. Because listen, greater work shall you do. That's what he promised us. That's what he promised us. So guess what? So creation, or his voice, does not stop in Genesis chapter 1. You are a continuation of what he spoke in Genesis 1. So while the earth is in mourning, while the earth is in travail, while the earth is waiting for the sons of God, listen, now it is your job to do what he did in Genesis 1. But don't just speak order to the earth, but I'll speak in order to your house. Because that's where it starts. Long gone are the days where believers man the house of God and your house goes unattended. I know we taught you that if you take care of God's house, he'll take care of yours. Yeah, I've heard that. But the fact of the matter is, in this season, he's causing you to tend to your own home. Hello, be the prophet to your house. Be the intercessor to your house. Be the worship leader to your house. Because why? Now I said this at the top of the year on another live. This is the year now where he's restoring legacy and he's restoring apostolic order. Right now, he's restoring the lineage. Because here it is. If you fix the problem but don't leave the solution to the generations after you, the world will end up in turmoil again. I'm going to say that again. If he presents you with the problem and you come up with the solution, but there is not a legacy to leave the solution with, we'll look up in another decade, in another 30 years, and we'll find the world in the same condition that it's in. The grace that is coming upon the body of Christ in this hour is a sustaining grace. The lights are off. The world is dark. You have two things. You have two things to do. Discover the you that God knew. And when you discover the you that God knew, I need you to find the problem he assigned that version of you to. That's good. Go and find the you that he knew. And when you discover the you that he knew, I need you to bring that version of yourself to the problem he assigned that version of you to. That's how we're going to come out of a pandemic. Because I want to let you know something. Whatever happens in the earth realm is simply a reflection of what happens in the heavens. If there's a shortage of dominion in the earth realm from the sons of God, that means that we are robbing heaven. We are robbing heaven. You are cheating God out of an investment when you don't become the version of you that he created. We're not going to rob heaven. I know we told you we robbed you in tithes and offering, all the other good stuff. I'll let somebody else deal with that. But you are cheating God out of the investment when you don't move and manifest into the version of you that he created. So now, your job during this lockdown, Your job, while we're not able to physically gather, you need to go not on a discovery of purpose. You need to go on a discovery of identity. And here it is. While you're there, I told you, I wrote this in the notes. In verse 21 of Romans 8, it says, because creation itself also be delivered from the bondage of corruption until the glorious liberation of the children of God. The earth will get free when the sons of God get free. I know we stop at verse 18 all the time. I'm just encouraging you to read a little bit more. Because the earth is only in bondage because you're in bondage. So now is the time for you to put away idols. It's time for you to, come on, put those secret sins aside. Deal with the things that nobody, see, we like to preach on the stuff that everybody else can see, and all that's great. But it'll be nice if you deal with the things that only you know are wrong with you. There are some things that only I know is wrong with Prophet. Yeah, there are some things that the bishop don't know that's wrong with me. There are some things that my wife don't necessarily know what's wrong. There are some things that Jamie don't know. But there are some things in me. Hello, why? Because I've taken the time to sit with me. And here's the fear. I'm trying to get off. And here's the fear. Some of you have been afraid to sit by yourself. And that's why them calling a shutdown has been the most fearful thing. Hello, it's been the most fearful thing you've heard all your life. Because some of us have been afraid to sit with the you. You've been afraid to sit with the version of you that you've become. I said you're afraid to sit with the version of you that life has made you to be. You've been afraid to sit with the version that mama has made you, that molestation has made you, that rape has made you. Come on, that failed marriage has made you. I need you to sit with that. Sit with it. Cry about it. Get over it. Because here it is. You can't develop. Listen, you can't go to God lying about you. How you expect God to be real with you in this season if you can't be honest with yourself? Listen, the divorce made me bitter. The separation made me angry. Come on, the church hurt did something to me. You need to be able to sit with that stuff. I'm here to encourage you, but I want to make sure that I'm encouraging you in the right direction. This is the season you've got to put in work. Nothing. God has the preachers at a distance for a reason. He's giving them a break because you've got to do some work by yourself. Come on. We can't pray you through it. I cannot prophesy you through it. Bishop cannot prophesy you through it. We can't throw shit. Aaron can't sing you through it in this season. Come on. But this season, you've got to walk some stuff out by yourself. No more codependencies. In this season, he's taking the crunches away. Come on. You can't church past this one. Come on. And here it is. You're not in the season by yourself. God wanted to make sure he played fair in this season, so he put everybody in isolation. He put the bishop in isolation. He put Pastor Carl in isolation. He put the prophet in isolation. He put First Lady. I need you to sit by yourself. Come on. Because I need you to reevaluate some stuff. I hope I'm helping you tonight. I hope I'm helping you tonight. So right now, he's called every man unto himself. Yeah, it's a plague. Some people holler his judgment. Beyond all that, I want to give you a healthy perspective. This is your season to put in the work. I'm a huge follower of Ayanna Van. She has a quote, and I did an entire series on it about 3 or 4 years ago, and it was the title, Do Your Work. Now, in this season, listen, the preachers won't be the prescription that you become addicted to. Oh, God. Because many of us has used the preacher and prophecy as pain pills to cope with stuff that we don't want to deal with. Oh. And the reason why you're frustrated, the reason why you're aggravated, the reason why you're fidgeting, the reason why you can't sit still, because right now you're going through withdrawals. Some of y'all don't like church that much. You like the hit that it gives you. Oh, come on, let's deal with it. Yeah, we ain't preaching that good. You enjoy the hit that it gives you. Come on. You like the emotionalized roller coaster, especially the black church. You love the emotional roller coaster that we give you. You love the thrill that we give you doing praise and worship. You like the fact that we give you about 2 to 3 hours to escape from life. But right now you're going through a spiritual detox. Let him detox all that stuff out of you. Come on. So right now you're not getting your weekly hit like you've been getting it. And that's why you're frustrated. You're cussing your husband out. You're mad at your children. Your job is getting on your nerve, and half of y'all working from home, and you still aggravated. All that frustration is because he's detoxing you. Come on. He's detoxing you from what earth has put into you, because the only way that you can become the real version of yourself, you got to be able to detox from everything. So right now you're in a rehab program. Oh, this is a bloody gospel. And here it is. And the reason why he has to isolate you, because when you're detoxing, you can become a danger to those around you. But in this season, he has you to yourself, by yourself, secluded with only those that can handle you. Because when you spaz out, you got to be around folk that can deal with it. But here it is. God can deal with the version of you that you've become. He's not afraid of it. I want to challenge you, and I'm logging off. I want to challenge you to get in the face of God in this season. Find yourself. Bishop has delegated moments of prayer as we do as a collective body. But I want you personally to find time outside of what we're doing as a corporate body. And I need you to get before God and listen and stop giving him the church version of you. Because sometimes we go to God as if he don't know the real version of who you are. We go to him with our church face and with our church mass and our religious prayers. But I want to challenge you to get before God and become completely naked. Because here it is. He already knows you a hot mess. You just don't know you a hot mess yet. But the minute you come into that reality that I'm more jacked up than what life will really allow me to realize, take that version of him and allow him to deal with that. Because when you give him this current state of you, you'll begin to watch him transform you. This is a fine season for you to come into the authentic version of who you are. This is a season, yes, God, where only the authentic will survive. If you keep walking around being the pretentious version of you, you'll find yourself dead by the end of this pandemic. And I'm not just talking about naturally, I'm talking about spiritually. You'll find that you won't make it to the other side because, listen, the clean slate that he's doing, only the real gonna survive. You can't be fake with him, and we sure don't want you coming in here being fake with us. This ain't the season for phonies. But come down as broken as you are, as messed up as you are, and say, God, this is me. He already knows, but he needs you to acknowledge and confess. And once you do that, allow him. They that are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. So allow him in those moments to lead you. And let him not only lead you, but let him lead you into manifestation. Let him lead you into manifestation, because that is what the earth is waiting for. That's what this whole, if I can give you a prophetic word about anything, the earth is in travail from one side of the earth to the next, because the earth is searching for the authentic sons of God. Now is a fine time for you to manifest.